Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. Excited to have my buddy Jason Lewis, in fact, my business partner, Jason Lewis, here with me. I haven't been able to say that for a long time other than my wife. So we'll kind of get into that later, have a big announcement to share with you guys on how we're helping real estate investors. Today, we're going to talk about the lifeblood of your real estate investing business, what's most critical, lead generation. We're going to talk a lot about what doesn't work anymore and what's working now. Welcome to Real Estate Investing Secrets. We're all looking for freedom and the opportunity to live better, more fulfilling lives. But most of us were trained our entire lives to work for someone else and chase their dreams. How can we use real estate investing as a vehicle to achieve financial freedom? My life is dedicated to answering your real estate investing questions and helping you build an investing business that allows you to change your life and the world around you, and to enable you to turn your dreams of financial freedom into a reality. My name is Mike Hambright from flipnerd.com, and your questions get answered here on the Real Estate Investing Secrets Show. Hey, Jason, good to have you on the show.
Good to be here.
Yeah, excited to talk to you today. For just kind of alluded to the fact that you and I are business partners. We'll get into that a little bit more later, but I'm excited to talk today. You know, I've been coaching and mentoring for a long time, and if you're active in the real estate investing business, you know that leads are everything, right?
For sure.
Yeah. And there's so many people that throw something at the wall, it doesn't work, and they stop doing it, or they move on to the next shiny object, which might be, it's kind of gone from RVM to cold calling to texting. Some of those things are illegal in some states now, and people saying direct mail is dead and everything else. And people just kind of jump on these big bandwagons of what's working or what's hot right now or what seems to be cheaper. But the truth is, if it doesn't get results, the price doesn't matter, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So we'll talk about that today, because I think in many ways what's old is new again in this space, and I think that's probably true for a lot of industries. I mean, of course, even cold calling, that's kind of new to the real estate investing industry, but that's not that's not new. Like, I remember growing up and people are calling at dinner time trying to sell you something. I mean, cold calling's been around almost as long as the phone's been around, right? But
Right.
it just kind of was new for us for a while, and now it's got some pressure on it. But let's talk about kind of, some challenges in the current market. I think a lot of people feel like it's getting more competitive, and obviously it has gotten more competitive. But what are the real challenges? I mean, there's still people dying, there's still death, divorce, inheritance, there's still all these problems that people have in their life that are bringing issues to where they need to sell a house quickly. So that hasn't changed. So what has changed? What are the big challenges now?
Yeah. Great question. So I found with the market, as the economy continues to grow, the supply of motivated sellers continues to shrink, and the supply of investors looking to work with those motivated sellers continues to grow. So, I've been in this space for 7 years now. And, early on it was like, just go to the courthouse steps and get whichever house you want, right? Or you can get on the MLS. There's a whole bunch of houses. They're all just waiting there for you. The easy part was buying them. The hard part was selling them. And then as time has gone on, some of those things have gone away. I remember a point where you could plan on a HUD home a month, right? And every night you're getting on HUDhomestore.com to see to see what houses are popping up, because if you get in there quick and it's investor ready, you're good to go. I haven't been on HUDhomestore.com in a long time, because it would be a complete waste of time. And so as the markets continue to tighten, and the market's at different points in different places nationwide, but as the markets continue to tighten, we've had to get more creative and do harder and harder, more complicated things to get the same number of deals that they were before. They're either harder, more complicated, harder to manage, etc., to get the same results. And I've seen people take, it's kind of like the Who Moved the Cheese book, right? The cheese keeps moving, and there's people that continue to move with the cheese, or there's people that are like, look, I'm an auction guy. Like, that's it. I go to the auction and I buy houses and I fix them up and sell them. And, oftentimes those people are either overpaying or not buying homes at all now, because they've just been pushed out by competition, technology, etc. And that even the whole technology thing is a continuing problem. I mean, you're in Dallas, right? You're hanging out with Zillow Offers and OfferPad, Open Door, all of those guys. Like, that's it's a legitimate problem. If you're not innovating, you're dying.
That's true. Yeah. You're right. A lot of real estate investors have died proverbially. They just said, this doesn't work anymore, or they weren't willing to make the changes that they needed to make to either survive or thrive. There's plenty of people. This is the interesting thing. I always think this is interesting in real estate investing is there are people that I've been doing this for a little over 12 years. So I know people that used to be heavy hitters and they're nowhere to be found now. They just disappeared, or
Yeah.
they quit the game or whatever. There's a whole bunch of people that used to do it and they used to do okay. Now they struggle a lot and they're like, this doesn't work anymore. But then there's some new people that come into the game over the past couple of years and they're just continually crushing it. And it's all mindset, right? It's all in your head. Well, I won't say that. A big part of it is mindset, and a big part of it is, are the newer people willing to do new things to get to those sellers first, right?
Right. Continue to innovate and everything else.
Right.
And I have to say that is a reason why I've appreciated being an investor fuel. I know this is the Flip Nerd show or whatever, but that was where you and I met, was when I showed up at Investor Fuel. And that is the beauty of a mastermind, is you're getting to see, the latest and greatest things that everybody's doing, and figure out what's working and save yourself a whole bunch of the school of hard knocks.
Yeah, you have to, in this business, really any business, you have to be looking around corners and say, what's next? What's coming? How do I navigate these treacherous waters that might be coming or whatever, right? Or how do I not just survive, but thrive?
Yeah.
And I think at Investor Fuel, when you put, 100 heads together and people are seeing things, we're talking about trends or talking about little tips and tricks on how to do things differently, it can only make you stronger.
Yeah, this is 2020. This isn't 1900 where you can be Andrew Carnegie and figure out steel and have a corner on the market. One big idea can't carry you through your life, right?
That's right. That's right.
You implement that one big idea, and you've got 6 weeks until everybody else has implemented, and then you need to have the next big idea after. I mean, that's one of the challenges in living in a digital. Everybody has access to all the information world.
Right. Yeah. And I won't say that, there's probably a little bit of margin compression for people in some markets, but the truth is you just have to be more innovative about how you get to those motivated sellers, how you find them. And of course, do more things like actually try to add more value, try to build up your brand and your reputation so that they want to work with you versus, well, like, I didn't really feel that great with that person. Let me go talk to a couple more, right? There's a lot of things you have to be doing to kind of be running on all cylinders, if you will. But I would say, for a long time, what's really benefited a lot of real estate investors is that they can be completely inefficient and still make a lot of money. And I think that's what's going away. There's still people that are going to make a lot. If there's old people and there's people that have problems and there's houses, like, there will always be an opportunity for us. It's just a matter of how do you get to those people and how do you do it in a way to where they want to work with you, right?
Yeah, I agree. I couldn't agree more. Definitely not to be, negative. I mean, this last year was the best year I've ever had. And a lot of people that I know had the very best year they ever had. Sure, inventory shrinking, but for the people that made the right choices, the opportunity is abundant.
Sure. So let's talk about some of the things that I know we're going to talk about some of the things that we're doing now in our businesses and to help other real estate investors. But let's talk about what doesn't really work anymore. So let's talk about some things that just don't work anymore, or that most people shouldn't spend time on.
So this is going to vary from market to market.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. If somebody's listening from Dayton, Ohio, and if someone's listening from Dallas, Texas, or San Diego, California, the answer is a little bit different, right? But my experience has been things that don't work great are your easiest stuff. Going to the courthouse steps doesn't work particularly well. Finding deals on the MLS still works, but definitely not at the rate it did before. Getting bank-owned homes, short sales don't work to the level that they did before. Something else that I have found that does not really work would be billboards as well. And I like to overall stick to just more targeted marketing, period. Yeah,
I think that is the key. Is we've kind of shifted from the shotgun approach to more of a rifle approach now. We used to be able, some of it is you could be wasteful. You could send a ton of mail to people that
every door direct now.
Yeah, we're kind of historically we're looking for equity and motivation, right? Could they sell us the house? Do they have enough equity in the house to be able to sell it at a discount, basically? And then do they have motivation to be willing to sell it at a discount? And I think what's happened over the years, over the last, let's just say, 3 to 5 years, as the market has gotten busier, as the retail market's improved, as more real estate investors come in. By the way, this is a cycle and it'll go away and it'll happen again, 7 to 10 years from now or whatever. It's a longer cycle than usual. But what's happened is people just start mailing to like, well, are they over 65 and do they have equity? And kind of, or are they absentee owners, and kind of letting go of motivation. They're just assuming, well, they have equity. I don't know about motivation, but let's just throw it at the wall and see what sticks. Right. And that's what doesn't work anymore, is going after people that you have no indication of their motivation at all. That's just, your marketing is going to be full of waste, which you just simply can't afford to do. Right.
Yeah. So I actually, that goes along well with my own personal journey. Are you okay if I kind of tell
let's go.
story about? Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I started out with I go to list source, I get to my favorite counties, and I just pull the equity list, right? Like in my 2 favorite counties, it was like, well, I just everybody, I just know the equity list. And then in the bigger counties that are south of me but that aren't as close, I would just mail like the absentee equity list, right? And it's like, fine, I'm getting everybody, it works great. But with time, my returns, from direct mail, were starting to diminish. So then I started adding some additional tactics like driving for dollars, as well as I have a team of virtual assistants that will actually get into the county, the courthouse, and other different online sites and things like that, and will look and see anything that's been recorded to show any type of motivation. And as I've grown it, I've gotten up to like 40 different things that we're looking for, and this team is looking for all of these things, right?
Yep.
So I grew both of those things, and results have been much better. And I was looking at my numbers last year, and so those bulk lists, right? This is just the equity list or the absentee equity list. So actually, I'll do it this way. The driving for dollars list accounted for 38% of my closings. That VA record pulling accounted for 41% of my closings, and the bulk list only accounted for 20%. So it was literally like the 80-20 rule manifested, and I was like, oh crap. Like
and these probably 80% of your cost was spent on the 20% part. I bet the cost is disproportionately, right?
Not quite, but
it's high though, right?
Right. Yes, it was high, but it wasn't quite that high. I actually had pulled quite a few of the daily records, and I'd scaled the daily records and the driving for dollars thing pretty big.
Sure.
So yeah. And then it was like, oh well, that's not good. So then I met another guy at Investor Fuel, and he had something that he was working on in this space too, and so we kind of work together to create for Utah a really cool system around this, where I'm pulling all the motivation points. I'm counting driving for dollars in with that motivation points. But that even still, you run into a problem, because like, let's say, I've got 2 houses on my old list, right? So from my bulk list, I pulled, let's just say I wanted everything older than 2000 that had been owned for 3 or more years with equity in it, right? So on my list, you got a house that was built in 2000, owner occupied. They barely have enough equity. It's in a zip code that I've never bought before, but it met the base level parameters for my list, right? Sure. And then also in my list, I have a home in my favorite zip code, owned outright, absentee. They just had a divorce. Their taxes are 4 years behind. They got flagged on my driving for dollars, right? All of these things. And if you looked at my marketing plan, both of them were getting a postcard at the same rate, right? And so I looked at that and I was like, well, and the thing that I've realized is that when you real estate and marketing in real estate is a numbers game, right? That person, let's say, is 5 times as likely. The second person I talked about is, let's say, 5 times as likely as the first person to respond, right?
Sure.
So, but as you get, so if you have a small marketing budget, you can say, well, I'm just gonna market to the person with a ton of motivation points, but those can run out pretty quick, and you can't scale and grow a company like that. Right. So all of my choices with these was either black or white, on or off. And so what we created was an ability to essentially score every property in all of my counties. So that was what we wound up doing, is bought the list of of all of the counties that I work in, every single homeowner. And then I will go through and I will rank everything. I'll rank everything from year built, amount of equity, lot size, square footage, how many years they've owned it, zip code, city, all of it. And then we take it through intense process of sorting. And then we add all of those motivation points that the VAs have pulled every day. And then what it creates is hey, here's the best home in your county. Here's the worst home in your county. Based off of how much I'm looking to spend, this is the one I want to hit first, all the way down. And then I can even take that a step further and say, okay, these people, they're going to get a postcard from me monthly. They're going to get a text monthly. They're going to get a call monthly. Like these people, they're going to know my name, right? We're either going to be good friends or we're definitely not going to be friends. All the way down to, the bottom, it's like, hey, these people might be like, let's just shoot these guys a text every 6 months. Just a little post like, hey, are you interested? Hey, are you interested? So it's created this awesome campaign. So everyone's being marketed to the appropriate amount. And the other thing that it helped me with is the appropriate timing as well.
Yeah. If you think about it, I mean, real estate investors have always, and those other industries too, have always been kind of a laggard, like not necessarily cutting edge with marketing. If you think about other things like, you say you're hungry and the next thing you know, you're seeing ads for a local restaurant.
That's
or
real.
whatever. Just stuff like that is kind of weird, right? It's like, how did they know or whatever? Do they hear my stomach growl? Or are they listening to my phone calls or whatever? But the truth is it's real, right? Most of the ads that we see in Facebook or social media or other things are usually relevant to us because the social media networks have gotten so good at determining what you're searching for, what you're looking for, words you're using in posts and all sorts of stuff where they can serve up those ads. And so the reason why that is a massive, massive industry is because advertising platforms know that advertisers will pay more money for somebody that is more likely to become a customer, right? If it's just branding, like I'm going to put a billboard out for Budweiser because it's summertime, that's very different than like going into a store and Budweiser's running an ad right now and the price is, it's like 4th of July or whatever. Like the timing is like perfect. So they'll spend more money on those things because they know it's more direct response. Like it's more likely to find somebody that they'll actually transact with. And so that's what you're talking about. And that's one of the things that we've obviously created for not obviously because we're kind of talking about it, announcing it here, is that we've created that service now together where we help real estate investors highly target the types of properties that have the most distress. And that's all done through data and digging deep in county and city records to find that information, right?
Yeah. As some people say, it's all done through geeking out.
Yeah.
The
truth is as long as I've been a real estate investor, there were always people that would go to the county courthouse and pull probate leads and a few other things, tax delinquent, maybe go after recent evictions and, can kind of go find that data. But the truth is like you said, we're pulling as many as 40 different data points now on a daily and weekly basis. And the reality is everybody knows that's important. But if the average real estate investor did all that, it'd be like 80 hours a week just to get data and they still have a business to run, right?
Right. And that's the kicker, is the consistency, right? This is 2020. There's podcasts everywhere. There's bigger pockets and everything else. Like there's no secrets in anything that we do, but it's just, can you do it consistently?
Right.
And, an advantage to the way we do it is because we're doing it at scale, we're able to do it inexpensively enough that it can make sense for us and for the people that we help, right? Because in some places it costs more just to buy your whole county's data than it costs to work with us. And with that, we will do the tens and tens and tens of hours of sorting and shifting and throw in the expertise to actually take that fat mass of data and make it really, work withable and make it so that it's a highly converting list.
Right. There's been this kind of line going around for a year or two now that says that the most valuable resource in the world now is not oil anymore, it's data, right? And we all know, and a lot of us don't really understand exactly how it works, but from Apple to Microsoft to Google, all these people, their biggest asset clearly is the data behind knowing what our interests are, because then they can sell that to advertisers effectively, right? And so we're not, I won't say that we're like Google, but we know that data is critical in this business. If you want to slash your advertising costs, if you want a disproportionate amount of people that you're talking to actually have motivation and not just equity, or not just be an absentee owner. I mean, hell, in Dallas County alone, like 50% of the properties are absentee owners, just because it's anywhere where there's cost-effective real estate and it's a disproportionate amount of rental properties. You have a low home ownership rate, high rate of people that own properties as investment. Those are all business owners. That doesn't mean that they're motivated to sell just because they don't live there, right? And so I think all that data that we're gathering now is out there for anybody to gather. It's just a lot harder. I mean, you hear this, and people hear, if you're listening right now, people say all the time, well, I have the list. I'm like, okay, well, the moment you had the list, it was outdated because things changed a minute later, right? And the next day and the next week. And so I think real estate investors have a tendency to use outdated data or incomplete data, and then that's the cheap part, really, right? Ultimately, and then spend a ton of money paying for mail to go to it, that it's completely wasteful. Like, how much waste is in the cost of the mail that you're sending to people that might not even own it anymore, and or didn't have any motivation in the first place. They were just over a certain age, or maybe you're absentee owner.
Right, for sure. Or the time, effort, and energy into cold calling, texting, any other type of marketing as well.
Sure. So guys, what we're talking about here is Jason and I partnered up. In fact, we had talked a few years ago. You called me because you were starting to do some operations in Fort Worth. We talked on the phone, and I didn't put two and two together until you joined Investor Fuel a little over a year ago, and we met. And actually, that very first meeting, if you recall, I've told people, this is going to sound a little cheesy now, but after our conversation, I've told people it was like peanut butter and jelly coming together. Like, there was something that you had been doing, there's something that I've been working on, and there's some things that I didn't want to do, but I knew needed to be done, and vice versa. And I think when we had that conversation, it was just like, we got something here. That's right. Yeah. So for those of you that are listening still, I guess I don't need to say that, because if you're listening, you are listening. But we've created a product, and really a service, called the Investor Machine. And it's effectively kind of done for you lead generation and analysis to tell you exactly who you should be marketing to, whether it's direct mail or skip tracing those numbers or those addresses to find the seller, so you can text message market them, cold call them, RVM if you're still doing that, anything you want to do to try to reach out to that person. And so we offer that as a service now that honestly, there's nobody else doing what we're doing. And a lot of it, like Jason said, are things that you can do yourself. But it's hard work. There's no doubt about it. And it's really probably not worthy of your time. We've just figured out a way to do it through a lot of brute effort, and we can do it very cost effectively. It would cost you a small fraction of having your own marketing manager on your own staff. So that's
and I feel like it's even more than just the list too, right? In addition to that, you get our expertise on how to market to those people, right? At which, the number of lessons that you can, save from people that have been down the road. Like, my third round of mail that I sent, I tried a specific postcard, and I got 3 phone calls, right? I think it was like a $15,000 mailing, and I got 3 phone calls, right? Because it was just the wrong piece, right? And I had no idea. A little background, first 5 years that I did this, including when I worked for you, I was working for another company. About 2.5 years I've been doing this on my own. So about 2 years ago would be that mailing. And I sent out the mail piece, and I thought it was going to be awesome. It was actually even a more expensive mail piece than what I'd been sending, but I just wanted to, I love split testing, right? So it's like, because I got to know what's going to work the very, very best. And so I was trying different things, and one of them I sent out, it was like, oh, well, that didn't work, right? And so with every aspect, whether it be the timing of when the postcard hits, whether it be the actual piece that gets sent, what's on the piece, the list that it's sent to, all of this stuff I've been constantly tracking and split testing for years. And I've had some of it that did not go my way. And that's definitely advantages. We will accelerate all the lessons that you and I have learned over all our years of doing this, and help people with their own marketing, so they can generate consistent high leads.
Yep. And so anyway, I don't want to make this too much of an infomercial, but if you're hearing this right now and this sounds interesting to you, you should check out, go to theinvestormachine.com, and you can apply or schedule a call with us to learn more about it. But it's a service. And like Jason just said, it's not just the data. We actually manage your direct mail. So we basically meet for about an hour every 90 days after you're in, and literally in an hour and 90 days, you can have your mail and your marketing done for you effectively for the next 90 days. We don't even have to talk again. It's just going to happen like clockwork every week. And we're using a lot of resources to make that happen on your behalf, right? So very, very, kind of done for you and done with you in some instances, depending on how you're using the data. But and we have a network.
That is one of the cool parts about the data, as compared to a lot of other data providers, is we work with you to create the data, right? Like we send you a list of a whole bunch of questions. And so the zip codes are going to be your favorite zip codes. So I won't come back to you and say, hey, here's exactly who you should be mailing, and here's who you should be getting phone numbers for to text and call. We work together on it to say, hey, here is your best list, right? And if you were to compare like my best list to a friend of mine, it would be very different, right?
Sure.
His best list,
even in the same market,
yeah, his best list would be over 500,000 on the east side of Salt Lake in great neighborhoods, and mine would be under 300,000 on the west side of Salt Lake in the slums, right? Like everybody kind of has their exact thing that's right for them. So it's taking and making your best list, because if all I was doing was generating $700,000 homes that were 4,000 square feet, I wouldn't want to. That's it. That wouldn't be my cup of tea, as compared to my dream little 1,200 square foot.
Yep. So, one of the things that I've seen with a lot of real estate investors just over the years, the two big things. One is the most frequent question I've been asked in my entire life, and professionally, as doing a lot of coaching. The Investor Machine is not coaching, by the way, it's a service, but there's a lot of opportunity to learn, because we have a rapidly growing membership base of people that are kind of sharing ideas and knowledge and stuff like that. But the single biggest question is, what list do I mail to, right? As if there's this magic list out there. And what we've always said is there is no magic list. You have to go do the work. You have to go put these pieces together. And so now if there is a magic list, we actually have it. And we're the ones doing the work to put it together. The other thing I'll say,
it's just data, right?
Right.
You could assign to every single seller, this seller has a 0.001% chance. This one has a 0.002. This one has a 0.003 or whatever. Right. And it's just taking all those 0.00%, stacking them up, and then hitting them appropriately. That's it.
Yeah.
As nerdy as it sounds.
I know, but there's so many people that understand that and get it, but they just don't want to do the work, right? And I get it. I don't want to do that. I haven't wanted to do that work for myself either. But once you kind of figure out that, wow, if we could help a lot of people if we can make this kind of done for you, right? So then the other big thing is, even once people get the list, they go pull it from a bunch of sources, might have even asked a bunch of people on a free Facebook group, like, where should I get data at? And then act like it's the Bible, and they go like, spend this time and effort pulling this. And then in the back of your mind, wait, the person that told me about this list or gave me the criteria, have they ever even done a deal before? Like, probably not often in the free Facebook groups. And so then you're afraid to upload it and pull the trigger to order it. And then it's a process to do that every week or every month, like clockwork. And so that's kind of why we offered the done for you mail solution, is that you don't have to think about it. Just if you trust us, and we don't take that lightly, we'll make it happen, and it'll just happen like clockwork. Because as a business, what you want more than anything is consistency in your lead intake, your lead flow. So,
right, and we're operators, right? We're not, I'm creating this as hey, I'm going to do the same thing for you that I did for me, and I'm continuing to do for me, and it's working incredibly well. Yeah. For my market. And so, I'm mailing through the same people. I'm mailing for you the same people that I am. The mail house is the same. Who I skip trace through is the same. The way I create the list is the same. Whatever I found that's working the very best for me is what I'm doing for you. This isn't Congress. I don't have my healthcare and you have your healthcare. We're doing the same.
That's hilarious. All right. So guys,
jokes are okay on real estate podcast.
Yeah. If you're an experienced investor, so through the investor machine, we're really looking to work with experienced investors, not new investors, because at the end of the day, we want people that are closing deals and have experience meeting with sellers, solving problems, and understand the importance of consistently spending money on lead generation.
It is a two-part thing. We can get the phone to ring, but we want to work with people that we know it's going to work for, that have at least some type of a track record of being able to do their half. Because I could give you every motivated seller in the world, but if you can't then go and meet with that seller and be the person that they want to work with, and if you don't have your systems in place, it can turn into spending a lot of money on something that's not going to generate a return.
Right, and you're not going to stick around and not be
looking for win-win. We're only looking for do this with people where it's like, hey, we can tell this will work with you and what you have going.
Yep. So if you're an experienced investor, go to theinvestormachine.com and you can schedule a call with us, and we'll talk to you and answer some questions you have and see if it's a fit. The truth is I kind of said this in the past, our service is almost like celery. There is a cost, but the cost savings and the time savings for you is like, it's almost like negative calories. It has negative calories because you spend more calories chewing it than the product had in it. I don't know if that's, I have to get that one buttoned up a little bit more. If you're a newer investor, this isn't for you yet. So keep that in mind as you start to expand your business. We'd love to talk to you then. Jason, anything I missed at all?
I think we did. I think we covered it.
Yeah, this is our worldwide release, I guess. Actually, we already have a bunch of members. We beta tested this for about 6 months before we started here in the Dallas-Fort Worth market, before we started to roll it out.
You and I have been working on this for 6 months, and I was working on this for between 6 months and a year before that, working towards this end result. And right. Only now are we willing to, I've been actively marketing for other people like this for over a year and a half, and only now are we willing to tell the world, hey, this is what we're doing, and we're excited to do it for you, because that's finally at a spot where it's like, okay, we've got this dialed in, and we know this will be a win for the right people, and we're ready to do it at scale. So yep. It's taken us quite a while to get there. Our big goal was, we don't want to put our names out there until we're sure this is going to work. So at this point, we're sure this is going to work, and here's our names.
Some of it was honing the product a little bit and the process for how we do things, and some of it was honing internally our ability to make this a business that we could scale and still provide a high level of service. So we've
right.
stepped up, we've stopped doing some stuff that didn't work, and we added some stuff that we thought added more value. And we think we've put something great out here, and it's a product that every real estate investor needs. Our competition in this space, there's nobody that's doing what we're doing. Our competition is people wanting to do it themselves. And I haven't met very many real estate investors that actually want to do this themselves. So we think we're onto something here. Awesome.
Just imagine spending an entire day in Excel clicking sort.
Yeah. So Jason, thanks for coming on with me to kind of share our announcement here and add some value. By the way, if you're a newer investor and you're not ready to consider, the investor machine yet, these are the types of things that you need to do. You need to be willing to put in that effort. I talked in the last show, the last Flipper show I did, I talked a lot about resourcefulness. If you don't have a lot of resources, you need to be resourceful with the resources that you do have, which probably for most people that are getting started, a lot of times what they don't have enough of is capital. What they seem to have more of is time. So you have to leverage that time to go get data and dig into stuff, because the shotgun approach just doesn't work as effectively anymore. You need to have a rifle approach, whether it's your marketing or your relationships or whatever it might be. So encourage you to listen to that last episode if you haven't yet. And so that's all we've got for today, guys. Jason, thanks again for coming on, buddy.
Thanks, Mike.
And hang with me for a second, Jason. So everybody, hope you've enjoyed this. If you got some value, if you haven't subscribed yet, go to if you're wherever you're watching right now or listening, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube. If you could subscribe there, we'd appreciate it. Leave a positive review if you got some value. If you've gotten some value over the last 6.5 years from the show and you haven't subscribed yet, I'd love it if you did. And if you're interested in the Investor Machine, again, it's theinvestormachine.com. We'll see you on the next show. Thanks for listening to today's show. There are 3 ways I can help you start or grow your real estate investing business. If you're a new investor and just getting started, the Flip Nerd Investor Coaching Program is the most effective program in America. I've been coaching and mentoring new real estate investors for 10 years, and my students have literally purchased thousands and thousands of properties. Many of them started with little to no experience at all. Our program is a paint-by-numbers program where we tell you exactly what to do week by week to make sure that you don't get distracted on your way to results. We show you how to build a real business, not just create another job for yourself. New memberships are limited. You can learn more and apply or schedule a call with me and my team at flipnerd.com/coaching. If you're an experienced investor doing a minimum of 10 deals a year, up to 500 deals a year or more, or have a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio already, you should check out our powerful Investor Fuel Real Estate Investor Mastermind. Over 100 of the nation's leading real estate investors are members, and it's not uncommon for our members to 2 to 5x their business just from getting around other members at Investor Fuel. At Investor Fuel, each of us are business advisors to one another's businesses, but we don't stop at business. We focus heavily on becoming better people and living fuller lives. If you're looking for fuel for your business or fuel for your life, please check out investorfuel.com. Applications and interviews are required, as most investors are not a fit for our community. Please learn more at investorfuel.com. If you're not ready for coaching or masterminds but eager to start learning more about investing, please join our private Facebook group by visiting flipnerd.com/Facebook. New members get access to free training from us right here at flipnerd.com, and it's a community to safely ask your questions, a great place to get started. Simply go to flipnerd.com/Facebook to request your access today.